Yeah, looking good. Awesome.
Over that way some. There you go.
There you go. All right, perfect. So
Okay,
our stream's just getting uploaded to YouTube right now. It'll be just a second here. And I think we should be live.
Yeah, you look good. You look good. You look good. You look fabulous. You look fabulous.
We're having fun. Awesome. That's great. All right, cool. Well, welcome. Good morning, good almost afternoon, good evening, just wherever you are on the planet joining us live today on YouTube. I'm here with my team, and it's not really that bright out yet. I'm in Seattle, and Simon down in Castleberry, Florida, and then Ron is our cameraman today. So Simon, I'm just going to turn it over to you, and you can share with our viewers what all's going on and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian, and thank you guys for joining us. We're here with a really exciting new spraying drone today. We're here, like Brian said, in warm Florida, nice warm December day here. And we're extremely excited to present our newest and largest spraying drone. So this is our Helio 122. This is a 22-liter or 6-gallon spraying drone. You guys can see this thing is absolutely massive, absolutely huge. And we're going to be flying it shortly. But before we do that, don't forget, always subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's how you make sure you don't miss these live demos. And make sure to stick around till the end, because we're going to have Brian come back and actually show some incredible test results that our team with the USDA and College Station, Texas, and some of the results and testing that they did with this drone, just showing how incredibly effective this system is. So make sure to stick around for that. We also have our sales advisor, John, monitoring the comments. And if you have any comments, please make sure to post them in the comment box or join us on Facebook. You can ask questions there, or of course you can go to our website, call us, email us, use the chat box. You can find a way to contact us for sure in one of those ways. Again, if you have any comments, we'll answer them live. So please put them in the comment box. Let's take a little look around the drone. So again, this is actually the largest series of our new platforms that we have available. We do have a 10-liter, a 16-liter, and this, the 22-liter or 6-gallon capacity model. Of course, this is kind of the flagship model, but all of them have the same type of control system, obstacle avoidance, terrain following, and an incredible software suite to go with it. All of these models can do swarming up to 4 drones at a time with 1 ground station, and it is a completely autonomous system from top to bottom. There's no remote control necessary to use this. Very straightforward to use, and we're going to show you the software in just a few minutes. This model also has quick release tanks. So if you need to remove the tanks, you can simply lift up on the tank. You can see we've already pre-filled these, and you just drop them back in when you need to use them. So an extraordinarily easy system to use. This model also has a camera system on board with a 4K recording camera, 1080p live stream. These are our obstacle avoidance radars down in the front. There's also one on the back and one on the bottom. This model is an 8-rotor model. As you can see, kind of an interesting design. This model folds up very easily. If you loosen these collars, these arms simply fold in like so, and makes it very easy to transport, despite the size. So let's go ahead and actually get this drone plugged in. We'll go over to our ground station. We'll set up a flight plan, and I'll show you just how simple that is, and we'll get it flying. So let's go ahead and plug the batteries in. These batteries simply plug in with 1 connection on each side. There are 2 batteries on board. These are the batteries. They simply rest in place here at the center. So we can connect the batteries like so. You'll hear some beeping happening. There we go. We'll make our way back to our ground station computer. One interesting thing about these new platforms is all the different sizes, the 3 sizes, the 10, 16, and 22-liter, they actually all use the same battery. The largest one uses 2 batteries. The 10 and 16-liter uses 1 battery. So you can have an entire fleet of these drones and have only 1 type battery between all the models.
Beautiful.
It's really handy.
Beautiful. Right.
All right, let's move back to our ground station. We got our ground station computer set up on this table over here, and I'm actually going to switch over to our screen share so you guys can see exactly how I set up our mission. Let's take a walk. So this right here is actually our basically optional remote controller. We do see our live video screen here as well. We'll actually set that aside because for this flight, we're going to do fully autonomous. We're going to focus only on our PC. So give me 1 second. I'm going to set up my screen share so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, we should have our screen share starting any second now.
It's there.
Awesome. So this is actually the software suite that's used with this system. This is called AgroSolve. This is a built from the ground up in the United States software suite for this platform. It's one thing I haven't mentioned yet. These platforms, all three models and the software are all US made with a 2-year exclusive HSE warranty. So this is a huge deal for customers that are using this for an enterprise user, need to be operating this drone nonstop. You have that reassurance that it's a US made product with a great warranty. And they have an incredible team backing up this software and developing it and adding features as needed for customers that might request specific features. So it's really just an incredible platform. The Helio team has been incredible to work with, and they really put out an amazing piece of software. All right, so you can see my screen here. This is the main planning page on the AgroSolve software. Right here, I'm in the planning page. I've already created an area here. You can see my customer is HSE. This is our demo. Here's my area. If I click on my area, you can see we have all sorts of options here. We can section this area. You can change the swath. You can change the buffer around the area. You can change the offset of the area. You can change the angle. You can change the return to launch, speed, height, and of course your spray rate in gallons per acre. Put it on. So it really incredibly simple to operate here. There's quite a few different ways that you can create an area on this system. You can create it just using the map like I did here. You can use a GPS tracking device, which is included with the drone. You can use import external files as well. So you have a huge flexibility on how to actually create a mission in this system. So I've already created my mission just to keep things simple here. What I'm going to do is I'm already connected to my drone. Let me close out of this. 1 second, guys. Check. I'll click on my drone. This is my drone right here, AG-122 number 1. If we were swarming, we'd have multiple drones here, and we can actually fly multiple drones at a time, even within the same area, and section the area and have a single different drones flying for each section, which is really cool. But in this case, we'll click the upload button. We'll click on the area section. You can see it's uploading the mission right down here in the bottom left. We'll wait for it to upload. One nice thing I do like about this is that after it uploads the mission, it actually re-downloads the mission to confirm that the mission is correct and there were no errors. So it's an extra layer of safety built into it. Okay, so we can see it was uploaded successfully. We can actually go back to our operations page here. Our operations page is actually where we operate our drones. Let me zoom out just a touch here. There we go. So we can see our area. The blinking one is actually the drone. If we were to have multiple drones in this area, we would see multiple drones listed in this left side. So right now we can see we have our AG-122 number 1. We can see it's currently in stabilized mode. We can arm the aircraft. We can take off. We can center the map to the aircraft. We're also able to pause the aircraft while it's flying in case of an emergency and move the aircraft using the computer. So a lot of safety built into this system. It's also set up in such a way that if you do have a swarm of drones, you cannot, it essentially does not allow you to set the drones up in such a way that they could potentially intersect. So they have to have varying return to home heights. The areas cannot intersect. There's a lot of safety built into that as well. Of course, we're just flying one drone here, but let's go ahead and hold down the arm button. We're going to see the rotors on the drone start turning. Okay, we'll hold down the takeoff button. And let's go ahead and stop our screen share, and we'll go back to the drone. And let's go back to the drone here so we can see it fly. So right now you can see it's flying to its first point. It's going to go to the first point. It's going to adjust its height This system allows for so much flexibility in terms of the altitude and that it takes to get to the point. You can see it's going to descend down a little bit more. Let's get a little bit closer.
Right.
I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see. It's not great conditions for filming out here. You can see that it's gotten to the correct altitude, and now it's actually going to begin flying its flight plan and spraying. It's going to be really hard for you guys to see the actual spray from back here, but very, very smooth flying aircraft, extremely simple to use, as you can see, and very, very straightforward. There it goes. We'll let it fly its pattern.
You want to get a little closer?
Yeah, let's get a little bit closer so you guys can see. There it is. So you can see how smooth it is now. It is using its terrain following radar currently to keep its distance from the ground. I do have it set to 10 feet above the ground here. And you can see it's just cruising along. I actually have the speed set a little bit slower than it needs to be so you guys can see it a little bit better and it flies for a little bit longer. But this drone has a really pretty amazing dual pump system that allows for pretty incredible speed and swath while operating. You can see it's flying along. Of course, this drone, just like all our other spray drones that we've had in the past, has automatic return to launch in the event of any type of fail-safe, loss of signal, low chemical level. But it also has some new things included with it, such as it has an option for what's called an area return to launch. And what that does is it actually allows you to set a fail-safe based on an area. So if you know you only need to spray 1 acre, you can have it set up to automatically return to home after it's sprayed a specific area, which is really handy. You guys can see the drone is just incredibly smooth, very, very simple to operate, like you saw. I mean, there's no pilot really involved with it.
You become an operator.
You're an operator, exactly right. This is about a little less than 1.5 acres, I believe, that I set up here. So you guys can kind of do the math in the time. This is at a 2 gallon per acre rate, and it's more than halfway done already. So it happens quick. This drone, with the size and the capacity, can cover, really with the type of data that we've seen from our customers using these, we're seeing an average of 29 acres per hour, and that's including the reload and landing time, which is just incredible, honestly. Really, there's nothing else that competes out there for that type of area coverage. It's also
great,
surprisingly quiet.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to add, this is Brian again, and you know, that particular model has, you know, we've sprayed over 31,000 acres globally with that platform. So although it's kind of new to us, it's really not a new platform.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Brian. This platform has been in use for several years now, and there's just an incredible amount of data to back up how well it actually works. It's something I didn't mention.
Awesome. And then Simon, there was something earlier that you'd mentioned about the dual tanks. And
oh, right. Yes. So this model has dual tanks, and essentially the way it operates is one of the tanks operates the front set of nozzles and the other tanks operates the rear set of nozzles. Oh, guys, you can see it's returning to launch now. So it's finished, it's climbing up, and it's going to come back to where we started. With the spray systems essentially being separate front to back, it's actually possible to use 2 separate products in the tanks. We'll have it land. I'll discuss that a little bit more and why that would be useful.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thanks, Simon.
Like I was saying just a minute ago, for the size of this drone, it's unbelievably quiet. I mean, we're maybe 30, 40 feet away from it, and we're able to
have a conversation.
We can whisper and have a conversation. Amazing how quiet it is. There it is. It's landing, shutting down by itself. The operation is finished.
There it is.
Very, very simple. So again, one of the situations where you may want to use a separate product in the other tank is if you have 2 products that maybe don't mix very well, you could actually use a separate product in each tank. So that's a really cool feature with the 122 model and its separate tanks. The other thing I really like about having the removable tanks is I don't have to bring, especially with the size of this drone, if you're a one-man team, it's difficult to move around by yourself. But having the tanks easily removable allows me to easily carry the tanks to my loading site, load them up, and carry them back. They have a handle on them, so it's incredibly easy to operate that way. I don't have to bring my mixing tank to the drone and then have to move it out of the way when I take off. It's a much easier process. With that said, though, I really hope you guys like seeing our new 122 model flying. Again, if you do have any questions or comments, you can post them in the comment section. You can ask us on our Facebook, or you can visit us on our website. You can call us, you can chat with us, you can email us. With that said, I'm going to pass it back to Brian. I know he's got some really interesting things with the USDA that they tested on this model and its efficacy. So with that said, I'm going to bring it back to you, Brian, and thanks again for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Simon. That's great. All right. So yeah, I'm excited to share some pretty cool stuff here. And really, one of the most important parts, forgive me for looking away, I'm just getting the study ready. One of the most interesting parts about the industry itself right now is that there's not a ton of spray pattern data out there for spraying drones. And HSE has been really at hard work for the last several years in collaboration with the USDA, who's one of the leaders really in the world about collecting spray pattern data. So what we've done is we've conducted a series of studies, and we follow the same modeling that manned aerial applicators use, okay? And I'll tell you briefly kind of an overview of how the study works, and then we'll go into the results. So picture a cotton string that's strung out from end to end, okay? And then there's also water sensitive papers that are down on the ground. I think it's every meter, so every 3 feet or so. And then the whole point is that the aircraft flies over that string and over those water sensitive papers. And what we're looking for are a couple things. One, we want to see pattern uniformity, okay, with a CV of under 15%. That's the industry standard. Really under 20 or 25 is considered pretty solid, but 15% is what we were going for. And then we're also going to look at making sure that we have good coverage on all of those water sensitive papers. So this study is comprised of data collected from both of those points. We used a really awesome nozzle that T-Jet has been, it's a prototype nozzle in production pretty soon from what I understand, but they built it specifically for unmanned aircraft sprayers, also known as RPAS. And it's really neat because this is a turbo T-Jet nozzle. It's a 11001, okay? So at 40 PSI, we're doing 0.1 gallons per nozzle. On that aircraft, there's 8 nozzles, kind of let you do the math, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna just jump in and show you the results, okay? So this data is important because A, it saves you the time as the customer, from having to do all of this kind of pattern testing. And it also really provides and proves to you that this particular aircraft, as far as a spraying vehicle, is set up optimized. So where the nozzles are works, the pump works, the type of nozzles on it works, the actual spray pattern itself based on the propeller, the prop wash, etc. All of that is a solid spraying system. As I mentioned before on a different video we did, really a drone like this is more purpose built. So it's really built versus back in the day where it was like find a big drone and then throw some spraying stuff on it and see how it works. This is all now about, having an aircraft built first as an application system. So let's jump into the data, okay? I'm going to spin my little screen share around here. Hope that was a helpful intro for you guys. Okay, here we go. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. And what we're looking at, this is the cover page, okay? I'm gonna go through some of the details with you. So this was the AG 122, same aircraft y'all just saw online. And then ground speed was 3 meters a second. Why? Because previous testing data has shown that between 3 meters and 5 meters per second is pretty optimal, both for pattern uniformity and for coverage, for swath, okay? So that's kind of a number. We also tested at 1 meter, let's see, we did 1, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, this is the data from that one set specifically. We also know both for following label requirements and sorry, I'm getting messages here. I'm distracted. But basically for label requirements, we wanted to stay under 10 feet, under 3 meters. So we did all of our testing at 3 meters. There is some data out there that says closer to 1.5 meters above crop is more ideal. We think with science and technology, we can actually do better than that. So 3 meters gives you a lot better coverage, makes you more productive, okay? So all of this data was collected at 3 meters above crop height, okay, just at 10 feet. That nozzle type I was telling you about, the TT11001, this was at a 2 gallon per acre target rate. And let's just take a look at it. So the first thing, I'm going to zoom in too, just in case it's hard for y'all to see online. That's pretty big. So hopefully, I think you can see that now. So this goes through a lot of the different things. We had the boom pressure, again, target rate, airspeed, wind speed, ambient temperature, humidity, all that data is at the top. And this is on our website, so you can check this out later. I'll tell you where to find it. Here we're looking at coverage versus in-swath location, okay? So coverage percentage is on the left. Right here, we're really looking at 10% is on this bar where my cursor is. Okay, so we see a solid, and then at the bottom, this is location for feet. 0 is our baseline in the middle, 15 feet out on each side, giving you about a 30-foot swath, okay? So coverage is nice and solid in that 15, 30 foot, 25, 29
payload
range. Oh, Simon, what'd you say?
with batteries and no water. I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
it's like
I think he came off mute on accident. I'm gonna mute him. Okay, so anyway, back. He's answering a helpful question, I'm sure. All right, so over here, back on coverage percentage and location, and this is about droplet spectrum, right? So medium itself is really within that range that we were looking for. 15 feet here is to about 14 feet is where you see it go from medium to fine droplet size. And then all the way over here at about 17 feet or so is where you see that transition. So nice, consistent droplet size inside of our swath here. And then we're going to keep on going. This is a racetrack, so simulated overlap and infield uniformity. So the pinkish color on the left is our left side. The yellow on the right is our right. Really nice, even, pretty solid coverage there in that 30-foot swath. And then our CV here is at 14% at 30 feet. Kind of interesting, right? Because you drop down to 24 feet and your CV jumps up to 23. Same thing that happens at 36 feet. So there's this kind of sweet spot between 28 and 32 feet that's pretty optimal, okay? And then I'm going to scroll down here back and forth. It's the same kind of different pattern, but also showing even a better CV down to 12%. And then if I check this out here, droplet spectrum, I know you can't see this, but the pinkish color is percentage number of droplets, and then the actual green is the percentage of volume. Really nice, even curves there. That's important to see. You want to see kind of that actual number of droplets decrease, and then the actual volume is on a really nice curve as well. So that's some of the kind of categorized data set here. And then these are the actual cards, okay? So those water sensitive papers I was telling you about, these are them. We're gonna start, as I show you, I'm gonna keep scrolling. You're gonna see cards starting from the far left, okay, all the way through the center to the far right, all right? So here we go. These are the first 5. So you'll see here we've got nice CV on these guys as well. Again, looking to all stay really as an average under that 15. We've got droplet size on average on these two. This was all done by, this was by AccuStain, which is a software that's available. I want to say it was out of the University of Illinois. You can check them out online. So this is kind of more of our middle section, right? And then if I keep scrolling to the last 5 here. So really, really, really great. Oh, sorry, I had 2 more at the end here. Sometimes I'm bad at math, don't tell anyone. All right, so that gives you an idea. So look, all this data is now available on our website, hse-uav.com. And then if you go to the Ag 122 aircraft, there's a couple places you'll find it. Either one, under the research tab, okay, on that actual product page itself. You go to the Ag 122 aircraft research tab is where you'll find this. And then there's also a link to it on the main aircraft page itself. So if you have any questions, you can check out the full report. We are still compiling the data for our smaller 2 platforms, the 110 and the 116, 10 liter and 16 liter. So that data, hopefully we'll have access to. Researchers are still working on it sometime, probably within either towards the end of December, maybe January, is when we'll start seeing those papers come out, but they'll follow the similar, it'll be a very similar testing style. The other thing I wanted to share about this is, our friends over that are manned ag aviators, follow the same exact kind of testing setup, the same protocol, right? So, and they're required every year, they'll come in and do this pattern testing to make sure that their aircraft and their equipment are conforming and producing what they expect, right? It's like calibration, it's important. So generally those are required at 3 or 4 passes, right? And that's considered, okay, we've got a good, survey here. We actually went for 12 passes. So when we collected this kind of data, the cards obviously were just for the first one, which is what I'm showing you. But when we actually did the more rigorous testing, we did 12 passes because we just really were out to, reduce any variability and to kind of smush any, questions of the validity of the data. So we went out 3-4 times what was required, by the standards of testing. Now, there's a lot coming in the future about standards of testing and developing some spray drift studies and things like that specifically for RPAS, because the models out there are right now, there's enough variables and using an RPAS versus a tractor or a manned aviator that it's necessary to actually come up with some. So we're in the process of forming a task force right now that's going to study several components. One, spray drift. The second one is going to be operator exposure. Okay, so chemical operator exposure. We're also going to look at crop residue and then efficacy. So those are some things that we're actively working on right now. I don't know of anyone else in the industry, at least in America right now, that's out to produce that kind of data, but it's going to be a series of HSE. We've got some of our dealers involved as well. Our friends up in Canada, Strongfield, is going to be a big part of that study. Big shout out to them. Folks at the EPA, the PMRA, our friends up in the Canada side. So there's going to be a lot of collaboration there. And then I suspect that some other drone manufacturers and distributors will come in as well. But this data is just paramount. It's critical, and we know that it's necessary. So that's why we're spending lots of time and money and resources and all that good stuff to put this together for you guys. So if you have any questions, if you want to know more, get in touch with us today. Can find out. And that pretty much wraps up our demo today. I'm going to just check out with my team on the interwebs and see if we've had any questions. In the meantime, that I can go through with you here. Let me just pause that. Let's see here. Simon, I don't know if you can still hear me. Any questions you guys have had online or in person there?
Oh, let me flip my camera around. Brian, I am still here. I've been listening into you. No questions so far, but great presentation and very, very interesting results.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited, man. So I do have a couple questions that I've been passed on from YouTube.
Oh, sure.
This is streaming live. So Chris said, is it possible to spot spray with a preloaded map?
Great question. Spot spray with a preloaded map. I believe you can. That's something I have to verify with the Helio team, but I believe that you can import a map to spot spray.
Awesome. Yeah, I believe that's the case too. You can import the map and then actually build your spot spraying based on that map. But we'll double check that for you, Chris, and we'll let you know. Another question here from, because it would be a KML. Actually, sorry, someone answered it online for us already. So the answer is yes. And then let's see here. Let's see. And then Jared's got a question here. Oh, man, he says, dang, we bought our drone too early. Being able to spot spray preloaded GPS points is 95% of what I need a drone for. So, Jared, that's one of the craziest things about this industry is the technology is evolving and growing so fast that it's like, I don't know, it's like old school smartphones is what I always compare it to, where at first it was like hardware was all what evolved. And now it's all software. And software is what gives you this ability. But there might be some ways, Jared, you should just get in touch with us and see if, I don't know what we can do. You should get in touch with one of our guys and see if we can work something out for you.
That's right.
All right. So we're right now half past, and on behalf of the whole team, just thanks for joining us wherever you were. Thanks for watching. If you didn't catch us live, We do these demos every month. Next one, Simon, do you know when our next one is?
Have to check. It's in January.
I know that. I was like, I know it's next year, so we'll see you guys next year. You can find out more.
You can see that in
Follow
our
us.
events calendar on our website, though.
Yeah, totally. And just follow, you can subscribe to YouTube is a great way because it'll remind you and send notifications and all that jazz. Follow us on Facebook or be friends with us or whatever you say. And we look forward to it. Okay. Any questions, get in touch. And thanks for joining us today. All right. Take care. We'll see you.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
Simon. Bye. Now I got to figure out